Innovation is the driving force behind every successful company. And in the world of ammunition, innovation is always top of mind. Well, Hornady has been defining the cutting edge for our warfighters and first responders now for decades. And following the success of the 300 PRC project, they've stepped up with another home run. They're calling it 6mm ARC, and it redefines the capability of the AR-15 platform. At first glance, you can almost see the intent. 308 capability in a 5.56 size rifle cartridge.
It just takes the AR-15 size rifle to a new level.
You're getting the best of all worlds, and again, a very compact package.
When they first brought it to me, so I was like, yeah, you know, I hadn't seen it yet, hadn't seen what it did. And they're like, no, it's really cool. Yeah, sounds like a Grendel. Well, then they came back, and here's the stats. It's like, holy moly, the thing is awesome.
There are some key similarities to the 6.5 Grendel. Most notable is the bolt face, seen here next to a standard 5.56 bolt. And that means parts are available.
Alexander Arms has pioneered Grendel in ARs for a long time, so they'll be a good source for those parts. LaRue's got Grendel stuff on his website. I found quite a few places that sell magazines for these guns already. Bolt heads are available. Really, the only difference is the bolt head, the barrel, and the magazine.
Well, almost immediately, the engineers knew they were onto something, and it hit the #1 deliverable for the military customer: size.
The DoD guys wanted a platform built that would give them all the advantages of a 308 and try to get rid of some of the disadvantages, which were weight of the entire system. So they went from an AR-10 system to an AR-15 system. But they also wanted to be able to engage targets not just across the street or inside of a room, but maybe across a valley. Well, the 6-ARC does that.
To have that level of capability in room and long range, you need terminal performance on target and hit probability. That's what makes this cartridge special.
In the process of designing the 6-ARC, one of the things we looked at was hit probability. This is kind of the lump sum total of all things that go into why a bullet ends up where it does, and gives you a ratio of how often you should expect to hit a certain size target at a certain range. So with a hit probability number, it's usually viewed as a percentage. So if you're at a 75% hit probability, you're going to be hitting 3 out of every 4 shots, and vice versa, any way those percentages go. It gives you a really good idea of what a cartridge is going to do instead of just comparing its retained velocity or its wind deflection or those normal metrics that we're used to looking at.
Another key advantage of going 6mm, the extensive selection of projectiles already in the Hornady catalog.
We took the years that we've had learning and developing the ELDX and the ELD match line, and we were able to apply some really specific design attributes to get an outstanding projectile specifically for the DoD. Really, case geometry comes into play, and then the propellant that we chose for this cartridge. It's a very specific propellant type. It's very energetic, it's temperature stable, and because of its energy content, we're able to get velocities that get up close to 6mm Creedmoor in such a small, compact platform.
The submission for the Department of Defense is not just a cartridge, it's a complete weapons package. So following the success of Hornady's 300 PRC in the bolt-action MRAD, Barrett Manufacturing and their AR, known as the Rex 7, is the obvious partner.
When Hornady first contacted us, we got really excited about the product. I've been a big 6mm fan for a lot of years, shooting competition and realizing the benefits of shooting a little bit heavier bullet. You get a bigger splash, you get a bigger impact. You can see your trace a little bit better than some of the smaller cartridges, so really excited to see it come forward in an AR-15 platform.
It's an exciting partnership between Hornady and Barrett.
They were huge in both the 300 PRC and this one. They move quick, you know, they're family owned, like some of the other guys who are also very quick to move, but when this was pitched to them, it was bang. And this project moved so fast, and a lot of it had to do with those guys being responsive.
It's very nice working with this customer, and the fact it's like, hey, we kind of sort of want to do this. What can you do for us? And then from there, we have a lot of leeway. Now, in this case, of course, with that groundwork that Hornady laid already with the cartridge itself in the 6 mil arc cartridge, you know, that gives us some parameters to work in.
And as the project got going, those parameters proved to be a game changer.
Very early on in the project, they sent us a bunch of ammo to work with, and we kind of kept tweaking things, and they'd send us a different load, one of the factory commercial loads, and it really started to make the rifle shine.
How could this be that much better? Well, it can be that much better. You can just tell right away, your drops are so much less. Your recoil is still easy enough where you can follow shots. You actually have a much more positive sound on steel of that, oh yeah, I've hit that target, you've got that. So I was very impressed.
And rightfully so. Now, it's worth noting that there have been other 6mm Wildcat setups for ARs in the past, but only 6ARC has this level of development and manufacturer backing. Now, speaking of hitting targets, we've got some range time. That's next. The #1 engineering challenge in this project solved with the 6mm arc, extending the capability of the AR-15 platform.
The AR-15 and a 5.56 is great from 1 to 300 yards. It's that 3 to 8.
300 to 800 yards is where this cartridge's performance steps up. And there is no better environment to put any long-range shooting product to the test than a precision rifle match.
Impact.
So the team at George Gardner's GA Precision put together a PRS gas gun that he campaigned with great success.
Now, I shot this at the K&M match just because I wanted to see what it could do. The longest target there was 1,000 yards, and I cleaned it up, so that didn't seem to slow me down at all. In fact, it was quite the opposite.
That level of performance from a semi-auto might take some getting used to.
Back.
Mentally trying to slow myself down. I was speeding shots. I'd say most of the shots I missed, it was me shooting too fast because I could.
But George's gun is not just a one-off. GA will build you one just like it.
Right now we have all the components on order to build this exact gun that's behind me. It's mostly Seekins hardware with JP and Bartline and APA thrown in there in the mix. It's kind of what the shop put together is what we thought would be the ultimate PRS rig.
For GA Precision, the semi-auto rifle is just the beginning. If you really want to maximize this cartridge's capability, run it in a bolt gun.
And we're designing a purpose so-called built action for this cartridge. It's going to have a little bit different feed ramp. I've already located a couple magazine sources that should work really well for it. So a guy who wants to shoot good quality bolt gun ammo on a budget, this may be what draws him in.
Looks like 3 o'clock.
But for semi-auto shooters, Derek and the engineering team at Barrett have a package that maximizes the accuracy, easily producing sub-MOA groups, even with cold bore.
One of our mottos is good isn't good enough. You know, we always strive to make it better and stronger and faster and lighter. And the Rec 7 is a great example of that in this platform.
The precision capability of the lightweight, easy-to-use AR-15 cartridge and platform is exactly what the DoD customer asked for. Ideal for their application, and that turns out to be an exciting setup for all fans of long-range shooting.
It's so efficient that turned out to be just a bonus. I mean, this thing's gonna be 1,000, 1,200, no problem.
Cartridge design and the chamber design is almost a canned feature at Hornady. We've done this starting on, with honestly the 30TC, but the 6.5 Creedmoor, the 6 Creedmoor, the PRCs. We have a very good formula of case shape, shoulder angle, neck length, and then matching that at the same time with a very specific chamber geometry that just yields easy shooting. It's not horribly jump sensitive, and it just makes it easy to be accurate with.
All of the engineering and ballistic science optimized for a semi-auto action boils down to in-field performance, no matter your application.
Start crunching the numbers. You're shooting a heavy for caliber 6mm bullet. So that's a bullet that 243s, unless you got a Wildcat chamber, you can't take advantage of those bullets. So you can even start crunching those numbers between the 6-ARC and a 243, and you'll see it's super competitive.
And this cartridge works for hunters also.
For first-time hunters, you know, historically that's been 243s and 708s and that kind of stuff. This one's going to be just as effective as your 243 and in a package that's even smaller.
Because you design things to be so efficient and so just inherently accurate, you don't have to hot rod a cartridge. You don't have to stand on it for pressure and velocity to get the performance. You can rely on the performance of the bullet to do the talking. And this is not going to be the fastest trip down the drag strip, but it's going to be the most efficient way to get there.
The near flawless conditions this morning on the Gap Private Range make for a great opportunity to watch these ELDM 108s find the steel at long range.
Here's this 6mm arc, and it's just sexy and it looks wicked. Shooting heavy for caliber bullets. I mean, we're shooting 108s here, and at 1,000, it is extremely effective.
Well, we've done it. 100,000 subscribers and growing, and for that, we thank you. If you're interested in seeing full-length current Shooting USA shows, literally the morning after they debut on the network, there's a link in the video description below. A modest subscription price gets you access to over 50 hours of full-length current Shooting USA shows. If you're enjoying the YouTube content, please consider subscribing, leave a like and a comment. It really helps with the algorithm.